Howdy. So I'm doing a test of my GoPro to see if I can live stream with it, so that perhaps someday soon I can take you on a flight with me. But today we're gonna take care of some business. Today is April 4th, April 4th, 2023, and I'm in La Jolla, Massachusetts, La Jolla, California, La Jolla, Massachusetts. That would be amazing. Anyway, let's see if we can get this trimming going. Yeah. Click. There we go. All right. So there's a couple things I want to talk about while I'm trimming my face. For anybody that's been paying any attention to what I've been doing over the past couple of years in terms of monitoring the subtle energy field of the planet, there have been some major friggin' events that have transpired in the past couple of weeks that have basically changed the world as we know it for good, for the next couple of million years. And I know that sounds pretty like grandiose, but when I explain, I think you'll understand. So the Earth has a subtle energy field that's pretty intricate and has been undergoing a tremendous transformation, arguably over the past 60 years or more, but increasingly over the past couple of years. And it's been accelerating at a rate that is really freaking amazing. Doing a check. There we go. Are we still at this, or? Doing a check. Okay. Well, supposedly it's still working. I don't know. I'm just going to pretend like it is. So, subtle energy field of the planet is pretty intricate. And the part that I've been studying the most is the part that is generated by either the Earth, the Sun, or the galaxies in our galactic neighborhood, specifically beams of cosmic radiation that come from the galaxies in our galactic neighborhood. Just to recap, when cosmic radiation hits the upper atmosphere of the Earth, it creates a stream of neutrinos that shoots down through the Earth, and usually, because everything on the quantum level is pretty much so far apart that hardly anything ever touches anything, Usually the neutrinos, just these subatomic particles, just pass through everything. They're passing through everything right now. But what's happened is that up until 2017, there were 3 streams of cosmic radiation reaching the Earth. And then cosmic radiation hits the upper atmosphere. When these streams interact with the upper atmosphere and create the neutrino streams, they stream down through the Earth, and when they get to the core of the planet where it's the most dense, enough collisions occur to create these ultra low frequency sound waves that radiate to the surface. And up until just this past week, they radiated in a way that created a whole network of these lines that appear on the surface of the planet. But what's happened is that in between 2017 and 2019, 3 more pairs showed up on the planet of subtle energy lines that are generated by galaxies, beams from galaxies, because 3 new galactic sources appeared. And the reason why they appeared and started to, bombard the Earth with these 3 new neutrino sources is because the solar system itself, it takes 250 million years to make one orbit around the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And each time it does that, in each orbit it goes up and down and up and down, sine, cosine, sine, cosine, and it does 3 of those up and downs, what's called a helix, in each orbit. It's had the Earth and the Sun the solar system has existed for 5 billion years, and thus it's made approximately 20 orbits, and with 3 ups and downs in each orbit. So it's done this up and down thing 60 times so far. And what's happened is that as the solar system crosses the central plane of the galaxy, it encounters a whole lot more dust and gas and stuff obstructing the radiation coming from the center of the Milky Way galaxy, so that we actually can't see the center of the Milky Way galaxy with our naked eye. They've been able to see it in the infrared and other spectrums, and increasingly they're able to receive radiation, in part because of the position of the solar system now has risen above the central plane, so that there's less gas and dust and stuff obstructing the beam of radiation coming from the center of the Milky Way galaxy. At the same time, astronomers, since they first started using telescopes, have started to look at, when they first started looking at the sky, there was a whole region of the sky that they called the zone of avoidance, which was basically the whole region of the sky that had the Milky Way in it, because there was too much light coming from that region for them to be able to discern with very much accuracy what they were looking at and how far away things were. So as it turns out, because of technological advances over the past 60 years, they've been able to see through the Milky Way galaxy to whatever is in the quote-unquote zone of avoidance. And what they've discovered just in the past couple of years is that there are actually 9 galaxies previously uncharted, that are within that band, and at least two of them they're actually relatively close, not as close as Andromeda, of course, the closest galaxy to the Milky Way, and the one that we are actually going to collide with over the next couple of billion years. But these two galaxies are such that they're close enough to be contributing beams of cosmic radiation that are having an effect on the Earth's subtle energy field. And so between 2017 and 2019, 3 new pairs of Emperor Dragon lines, or subtle energy lines caused by galaxies, showed up on the Earth. So now that until recently, there were 6 pairs of these parallel lines running around the world that are caused by galaxies. But what's happened most recently is I started measuring in 2019, in December solstice of 2019, and roughly every solstice and equinox since, I've been able to make a measurement. There are a few I've missed for various reasons, but I was able to document an expansion of the width of these parallel lines, and confirm that they were not just expanding, not just the one that I first started measuring in Big Sur, but also there's one, the first one that showed up goes pole to pole, and it before 2017 there were no Emperor Dragon lines in North America, and now there are 2 pair, or were 2 pair, and until a couple of months ago. Now things have gotten a bit more interesting, very much more interesting, because what's happened is that not only have the Emperor Dragons been expanding, and I've been measuring that expansion, but now they've expanded so much that they overlap one another. All 6 pairs, all over the world. There are, in a way, you could look at it like there are 6 layers of this energy now. But the reality is that all 6 of these sources are all radiating from the core, the central point of the planet, in a spherical direction, all at the same time. And from here on out, for the foreseeable future, you're going to have the every place on the planet, this energy is coming up, straight up through the Earth. And to give you an idea of what this energy is like, I've said this before in other videos, but I recognize I'll have to keep repeating it just so people can understand what the significance of this energy is. The energy is such that our ancestors, as long as there have been people have been making a pilgrimage to this energy. Up until 2017, there were 6 places on the planet where the Emperor Dragons crossed. Only 6 places, and only 4 of those places were on land. And one of those places is a place called Mount Kailash in the Himalayas. It's the most sacred mountain to 6 religions in that region. And people make pilgrimages to that. In fact, right now there are people making pilgrimages to that mountain because they don't know that they don't need to anymore to experience the energy. And traditionally what you would do when you made a pilgrimage to this mountain is you would actually prostrate yourself all the way around the mountain. That means that you would lay down, face down, arms, legs, and fingers spread as wide as you can. Then you stand up, take a step, and do the whole thing all over again, all the way around this mountain. And our ancestors have been doing this as long as there have been people, because just to experience this energy, which I can tell you, it can be very euphoric. And spiritually uplifting in every way you could possibly imagine. So what's happened though, that was when the node where these emperor dragons crossed was only 50 paces wide. And so over the, since 2019 when I first started measuring till last September, I documented an expansion of the lines that at first it was 50 paces, then 80, then 100, 120, 180, 200, 400, 500, 600, 4 miles, 92 miles. Then in September it was 1,352 miles wide. And I confirmed that it wasn't just the one that goes east and west across America, but also the one that goes north and south across North America. And the two crossed in Virginia. And I documented the giant 50-mile square hashtag that they make in the middle of Virginia, or made. Now all of that is gone. All of that structure has changed just within the past. It's actually changing right as we speak. This will be going on. This expansion period will be going on for at least another 2 days, possibly longer. And this expansion period started around the 16th of March. So what we discovered, we being my friend Rory, who I've known for like 20 years or so, who is was the lead researcher in this whole project. He's a British classically trained geologist. He typifies himself as a geobiologist. He spent 7 years working in a gold mine in southern Africa, where he learned how to dowse initially, like 25 years ago in his early career as a geologist. And he's been teaching people how to dowse ever since. And in the summer of 2019, he sent me a photograph of this node in Big Sur, California, which just by odd coincidence happened to be 100 yards away from the archaeological site I discovered in the same place in Big Sur in 1994. And I don't think that he actually knew that in the photograph that he sent me, you could see the archaeological site in the foreground, and the node lines that he drew on the satellite photograph in the background, and literally they are about 100 yards apart as the crow flies. And when I first went up there to dowse the node in 2019, I discovered the archaeological site in 94 and have been, periodically making visits up there. And then when I went up there to confirm the existence of this node, I spent 5 days camped in the node, just sitting there in meditation. And from that place I was sitting, I could just look down the hill at the archaeological site, and it was pretty obvious that obviously the the node was there before the archaeological site. Whoever built the archaeological site knew the node was there. It's entirely possible that this node was, has been there for millions of years, off and on, possibly billions of years. I would guess as long as there's been atmosphere, because the node is caused by two solar lines, and the cosmic radiation coming from the sun is constant. But in order for it to be turned into neutrinos, you need an atmosphere. And so as long as we've had an atmosphere, we've had this, this neutrino thing happening, and which has been generating the solar matrix of subtle energy lines, which are smaller, still powerful, but much less powerful than the galactic generated lines. There are Earth generated lines as well, and what we've observed is that since the solar lines have doubled in number and have started to expand, the solar matrix of lines has also started to expand, and I don't have as much information about the measurements for those